They're all fed. They're all right.
Well
They
done.
are high maintenance, I tell you. Thanks, everyone. Look,
Good to have you back. I did feel a little bit lost about you, to be fair.
I imagine you handle it quite well.
Anton was ready to jump in.
I bet he was.
Oh, yeah. If you only had a slightly larger earpiece, I'd have been there.
Well, listen, guys. Picture the scene. Here we go.
Oh.
You're young. You're moving to Paris.
Oh, yeah.
The most romantic city in the world to fulfil your lifelong dreams of becoming a performer.
Love it.
And as you settle in, you're led astray by a mysterious dancer.
Well, that's just a taster of what you can expect from Strictly, Anton Du Beke's brand new novel, The Paris Affair. Ooh la la!
Oh,
Did you like the way I was
joins
reading
us
that?
now.
I love the way
Maybe I could do the audio book.
Would you?
If you want me to, darling, I'll do it.
Would you do?
Nice.
Would you do me a discount, Brian?
No.
No.
No mates rates.
Oh, right.
Sorry,
No
sweetheart.
pay, no play, baby.
No. Well, there it is.
How many is
There's
this,
the book.
Anton?
There it is.
Sixth.
This is the sixth in this continuing saga. Although I say it's a continuing saga, take my bins off, but it is. They are standalone novels. If you haven't read any others, you can go straight into here.
So you don't have to read
No,
all the
you don't
others.
have to read them all. But the joy of it being a continuing saga for me is that I can just develop the characters. I don't have to think of sort of a whole new situation because I love it so much. And it would have been terribly sad for it to have ended after the first novel and go on to do something else. So the joy of it is being able to develop. And we're at a point now, we're in 1941, and Raymond's gone off to Africa to fight in the war. But we can revisit his sort of backstory a little bit. And this takes us into Paris during the 20s. And there's a chap that comes into the story, and we have to wait and see and decide whether he's a goodie or a baddie. But he's an old chum of Raymond's from back in the 20s.
Well, I think the reason why it does so well, Anton, is because Raymond is so similar to a certain someone not too far from where I'm sitting.
Not Dermot,
No, you, darling.
Oh, I
Very
see.
similar to you. And I think that's the reason why you are a Sunday Times bestseller author now. And I think that's the reason, because we feel like he is you. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
But they do say write about what you know. And all the characters in the books, they've always been people I've either met bits of them and bits of that, and people I've heard wonderful stories about. My old teachers used to be great raconteurs and tell me lovely stories about the people that they used to dance with and have lessons from. Old guys, I mean, from the 30s and 40s, wonderful characters. They just conjure up these wonderful images in your mind. And so all of that goes into the melting pot of the story. And then I love things like Agatha Christie and, you know, Hercule Poirot, and I love the way they dress and all the settings and London at that time. And all of this stuff, all your influences go into these characters and the settings.
Would that have been your ideal time to be alive?
I would love to have been around in the 20s, to have seen... So the early part of the last century, coming out of the Victorian era and coming into the new century, and then before you know it, we're into the First World War, and then coming out of that and thinking that was the war to end all wars, and yet it was only an amnesty, and before you knew it, we were into the Second World War. But that time between the wars is a fascinating time. So much changed. I mean, the Roaring Twenties, things like the Charleston and
the glamour.
I was going to ask, in terms of dance, was it an unbelievable
incredible? Because the
time?
music, of course, music changed. Jazz came into our lives from America. People danced in a sort of hedonistic way. During the First World War, people would do things like the foxtrot because it was a walking dance. The foxtrot is based on walking, as you know.
Yeah.
And it was just a walking dance. So because we weren't sure if we'd be back next week from out there. So we didn't want to have to start learning step forward side together, back side together. The waltz is the oldest dance from the Viennese waltz, but the foxtrot was always the dance that people danced.
That you could do
back
with
in the day.
anybody.
You could do with anybody. You could take somebody up and you would walk and dance together. And
That's
so
fascinating, isn't it? So
and then the
interesting.
quick step was born out of the foxtrot because of the influence of jazz and the speed of the music. So a lot of foxtrot music, as we would know it in that time signature, played quicker. It's the same song, but it's just in a much quicker tempo. So the quick step was born, and from the influences of things like the Charleston, etc. So all of these influences, that's a great thing about sort of ballroom dancing, if you like, is that it was born out of life and society.
Yeah.
And what happened with everything. And the frocks and the suits.
Sort
and
of
the
social
gentlemen
history
wearing
through
tails.
art.
This is the
really,
most
isn't it?
interesting conversation I've ever had with you in my
Well,
life.
it's amazing what you'll get with a sausage roll.
But how did you find the writing process?
Well, I love it.
Does it come to you straight away?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of these people. If you put
You're
me in a
not.
shed at the
So
end
what
of
would
the
you
garden...
do?
I don't know,
Well,
though. That's a lot of words.
It's
like
many
500.
words.
This is a 500-pager.
This is a big one, yeah.
It's
no,
a dictaphone thing. What do you do?
This is I have somebody doing this, and I'm narrating the story. For
Oh,
them.
wow.
I'm sort of doing the book in audiobook.
And then, no, not that. No.
And my sort of mantra is, if it makes no sense, tell me. So we sort of edit. Or if I repeat myself, say, said that.
That's a really
So
unusual way of working.
I don't know, actually.
So would you then... You'd have a chapter plan sorted in your head.
I have an overall plan.
Yeah.
So classically, it's like choreography, really. My big stumble is always a beginning. This is always the bit that takes sort of the most amount of time for me, is trying to get the beginning right. And how are we going to enter into... Because I want people to go like that, open the pages, and sort of step into it. And then find themselves, a bit like Mr. Ben.
In this world.
And then here we are, and I'm off and running.
Yeah.
And there's the novel out in front of it. But now I'm living it. I'm not just reading it, I'm part of it.
Yeah.
I want to immerse. There's nothing better than being immersed into a story that keeps you going like this. That classic... I mean, you've heard all these things. I'm going to put it down, but you can't put it down.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's still... And I'm going... And I want you to be part of the book because I want you to feel like you can live it. That's the perfect combination for me. And you're going to do that if you live the characters yourself.
There's one thing that I can't put down at the moment. Strictly Come Dancing.
Oh, nice.
Isn't it?
The turns, the ups, the downs. You as a judge, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Do you miss not dancing?
Sometimes.
But then you're always dancing with Shirley on the grams.
Shirley and I are always having a... We don't do too much. We don't want to exhaust ourselves.
Yeah.
But we do enough. And it's lovely, actually, because
Just
we'll
keep
do
your
something.
toes in it.
You know how it is. It's good for Shirley. Shirley appreciates it, you know.
It's good for the grams.
It's good. But it's lovely. I love it because... And dancing with Shirley, of course. Oof, have some of that. I love it. But yeah, it's been a great series.
How are you finding it? How are you finding...
Loving it. It's up and down. People are having good weeks. People are having not so good weeks. And I think that's the real magic of the show, that we don't have an overall sort of winner every week. We have people up and down and up and down.
And Eddie was so good. He went
Eddie
this week.
he had a 10 from Shirley, but
He
last
was
week, the week
so
before...
good. And then Amanda, I couldn't believe she's leaving as well.
Yes.
I was so sad.
That's terribly sad because she's terrific. Could have made it all the way to the final. I thought she was very, very
Look
strong.
at that posture.
Look at her.
Such a shame.
It's
Maybe she could do it
amazing.
another year. I don't know.
Maybe she should come back.
Anton, do you find the hardest thing is not mentoring the contestants? Because most of the dancers are also mentors at the same time, right? Because they're helping these people like through the process of learning and teaching them and all of that, right? So do you find the hardest thing about judging is that, and we always had this X factor, the judges would find it quite hard to sometimes just to step back and be hands off and let them get on with it.
Do you know, it's a funny old thing. It's and you'll remember this.
Yeah.
Any amount of praise is so uplifting.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Just even the smallest amount, you hang on to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm walking down a corridor and I see somebody and go, "You were amazing last week," or if it's after the show, I go, "You were amazing this week," they go, you take
that.
I want to. But if somebody sees that, and I haven't said it to them, it could seem like favouritism.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
you've got to
there
be
isn't.
careful.
So I try to, and this is the thing that not upsets me. Is the saddest thing of all is I can't get involved with anybody, so I have to stay away.
Such
so
a shame.
we're up on the 3rd floor, the judges, away from everybody, and everyone does their thing, and then we come down and do the show.
the hard bit.
We'd love to be in amongst it and go, keep going, you're doing great, because that's all it needs. And people go, do you think? Oh yeah. I go, all right, I'm off.
Brilliant.
But you can't, you see, because you've.
Anton, thank you so much. Anton Du Beke, The Paris Affair is out tomorrow on the 26th. Best of luck with it.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
That's tomorrow, by the way, the 26th. Tomorrow.
Coming up
Did I
next
mention
night,
it?